Some type of stars will expire with a titanic explosion called supernova. When the sun dies, it casts out the outer layers into space, leaving its hot, dense core to cool over the eons. But some other type of stars expire with titanic explosions called supernova. A supernova can shine as brightly as a galaxy of billions of normal stars. Some of these explosions completely destroy the star, while they leave behind either a super-dense neutron star or a black hole, an object with such powerful gravity that not even light can escape from it. Supernova can come in two broad categories, known as Type 1 and Type 2, which are defined by the spectrum of the matter ejected into the space. And by the way, the stars brighten and fade. As the supernova discovered, thought the line divides in two categories is blurring. Best known Type 1 is known as Type 1. A Type 1 probably occurs in the white dwarf star. The corpus of a medium mass star like the Sun is completely blown to bits. Astronomers, while dwarfs are the culprits because Type 1 supernova typically occur in a region of space that can mostly older stars, suggesting that Type 1 is explosion long-lived star. Stars that live a long time cannot particularly massive, adding credence to a white dwarf theory. The spectra of Type 1 supernova shows little or no hydrogen and the most common elements in the universe. Instead, they show a lot of carbon, oxygen, which is in opposite of the white dwarf. The maximum mass of white dwarf is 1.4 times that of the Sun, and value known as Chaucer limit. White dwarfs is nearly the Chaucer mass, essentially identical, and so they undergo nearly the identical explosion. The most popular theory for turning a white dwarf star into supernova is through the act of cannibalism. If a white dwarf is close companion star, it must do the gas companion service. If the amount of materials accumulated by a white dwarf pushes the mass near the Chaucer limit, the white dwarf might explode, leaving nothing behind. The multi-wavelength of the Crab Nebula is a remnant of a supernova seen in Earth skies in 1054. The stars make Type 2 supernova, on the other hand, probably are born galaxy spiral arms, regions that populated lots of young bright stars and don't live long enough to wander from their birthplaces. Because they're short-lived, the stars must be massive. The brightness of typical Type 2 supernova peaks a week or two and then remains nearly constant for up to 2 months. It drops suddenly, following the steady dimming over the next few months. The pattern of the light emissions are constant with the explosion of a supergiant star. A supergiant star has progressed through the sequence stages that produce increasingly heavy elements in its core, from hydrogen, helium, carbon, oxygen, and so on. This sequence comes to a violent end to the core converted to iron. Iron can only absorb nuclear energy, not produce it. Since they no longer produce energy, the star loses the source of internal pressure and collapses. When the star collapses reaches the critical density, it stops. At this point, the matter of the star core packed tightly in a block of material the size of a sugar cube will weigh millions of tons. The core has become a neutral star, an object more massive than the Sun, but only a few miles in diameter. The progress releases enough energy to rip a star outer layer to bits and blast them into space at several percent of the speed of light. These fragments can carry helium, calcium, oxygen, carbon, and other elements into space, where they incorporate into a new star and planets. Nova is the Latin word that means new. In astronomy, it's used to describe an object suddenly shines much more brightly than it had before. Nova occurs in the multi-star systems which are the white dwarf neutron star, or a black hole, draws gases in the outer atmosphere of a companion star of an enveloped matter around itself. As the matter piled on, the gas increasingly hot and dense, and suddenly onset the hydrogen fusion in the envelope triggers an enormous thermonuclear explosion. The star brightness increases 1,000,000-fold and makes it luminous as the brightest stars.